We'll be good to go here in just a second. Okay. Let me make this bigger so people can see your beautiful face. All right, let's see here.
Thank you.
Okay, so, all right, we are live. Okay, so, all right, let me roll this one out. We got a new friend in the house, and it's the first time we've sat down together. If you're watching this on Facebook, it is a replay. We're banned from going live until the 27th of January, but we are live on YouTube. We are live on X. And I have submitted, to get approved by about 5 or 6 other platforms, IG and TikTok and Telegram and whoever else is out there. I didn't realize it was such a hassle. I didn't realize getting shadow banned in 2026 would even be possible. I thought the world was awakening. But we have a beautiful new friend here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please let us know in the comments section that you're with us. We've got a friend here that came highly recommended from some sisters, more than one actually, that had been on the show. So let's welcome Soulogy. Welcome to Stephanie Elaine Golden-Falcon. Thank you for coming in and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence in these wild, crazy times. I'm anxious to hear what's going on in your life and how everything's playing out for you in these early days of 2026. But welcome.
Well, I am absolutely honored to be here. I never expected anything like this. I kind of fly under the radar most of the time, so to be asked to come in and be on the show is really an honor. I
Oh,
appreciate it very much.
well, it's an honor to have you here. It's an honor and a privilege. One of the big things that's been happening in at least in my experience, especially with the show, because it's so funny because you can look at so many different aspects and streams of our lives, and you can see the evolution and all the parallels of our existence. And we all know that on or about 2012, these communities started to explode. We all know that the vast majority of these groups and communities were made up of the feminine. We know that part of us, the feminine intuition that we all have, is kind of led the way here. And it's interesting because now the male incarnations are seeming to making up more of the population, the demographics within these communities such as Soulogy. But what I'm getting at is it seems like what we've arrived to now is truly hearing her voice, the voice of the Mother Goddess, the voice of the Divine Feminine, kind of permeating and fully anchoring into the original grid, as all the overlays get cast off. So it's nice to see the sisters stepping up and sharing their wisdom and sharing their experience, because through their experience, there's some vital code that we haven't been able to hear, just due to the way that the inversion and distortion had created so many overlays and misunderstandings and breakdowns in communication. But yeah, I'm happy to find out a little bit about you and get to know you in front of a bunch of people. It's just like we're having a cup of tea. And but yeah, let me ask you the famous Soulogy question: have you always been this
Okay.
weird, or did you have a wake up experience?
I have, I was born this weird, and then I got weirder.
Mm.
So, and I went through a lot of different things, and I just keep getting weirder and weirder. And I'm really okay with that. It's like, at least I'm not boring.
Yeah, exactly right.
Because I don't even know what to expect. So, you know, I'm like this. This is a surprise. It's like, who knew that I would be here sharing what I do in public with you today? It's one of those things we were talking about it earlier with some of um, a lot of my sisters, and we were talking about the blueprint that was laid down for us before, and now it's landing, and we're stepping onto it. Um, I remember first seeing you, Todd, and I thought, oh, he looks interesting. And I kind of went on, and this was some years ago. I think it was in like early when you first started. And I have very active and very talkative spirit guides. And they said, "Oh, you're going to be on his show." And I'm like, "Yeah, right. That ain't going to happen." uh-uh. So that's why when you sent that message to me, I said to you, "Oh, you are confirmation of something I got a while back." So, that's why I love when it comes full circle, and how many things are coming full circle now. Um, it's it's amazing how the walk that we take is, if we trust it, we will find that we are on the right path, doing the right thing, with the right people, in divine right order, always. And the only time that it doesn't happen that way is when we don't trust. And I've been privy to that too. Didn't trust, got really mowed down. Like, you just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and, keep going.
Yeah, it's when you realize you're like a fly on an elephant's ass, and the tail swats
Right?
you. Yeah, but there's a couple things there to what you're saying. One is one of the things I noticed is, and there has been something happen, toward the end of the year, and I heard some of your sisters saying the same thing, which was, and you said it in your own way, really, that. I've been told for a long time that we were going to come out to be seen and heard, and now it's happening, and there's no choice in the matter. So I really feel like that feminine voice through the sisters and the brothers, in other ways as well. That force, that mother's pink auric field that's permeating over the world. If you look in the skies, and even some other anomalies, or what used to be anomalies now, it's a real thing, and it's exciting. It's exciting because I feel like the environment, regardless of the distortion, the environment is because of their own I would say hypersensitivity. They know it's safe to come out now. They know it's time. Katie barred the door, because you combine that with the children coming in, and the expanded consciousness of our playmates and the elemental, animal, ocean, angelic, galactic kingdoms. Yeah, this thing's coming online full force now, and we're only 9 days into this thing.
I know. That's what's so exciting. It's like, since since it started 9 days, so many things have changed in my life. It's exciting. That's all I can say. It's absolutely exciting. Um, I've worked for so many different aspects of my life to line up with what Spirit told me as a child.
Mm.
And I came here turned on, and and it wasn't very very let's put it this way. The people around me, except for my grandparents, were like, and my dad, he was really cool about it. He thought I was funny. He'd always say, "You're a crazy kid." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, you're my dad." So, it kind of figures out that way. But I had an unusual um, upbringing, in that it started out being taught to read from the Bible. Like, we used to read, see Dick run, see Jane climb, that kind of thing. That's how I learned to read, with my grandmother. So I was instilled with something, and it wasn't interpreted for me. It was a direct connection where I read, understood, took this in, and it became um, the basic principles of it, not the distorted way, but the basic principles of what Yeshua had to say were burned into my soul.
Yeah. And so, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still
Oh
here.
yeah, yeah. You just froze. It's just your signal.
Yeah.
So essentially what you're saying too is what some of your sisters have said for quite some time, at least, on the show, which is they were told things long, long time ago. And they were told about this time that would come, and now it's here. And so it's like, how does that feel to you to be given those things at such a young age, and now really we're here now? I mean, it's happening. It's on. Game on.
To tell you the truth, I never doubted it, and I never expected it not to be. I kept saying, "Is it time yet? Is it time yet?" Is it? Where is it? I'm ready. I've been ready to mm, share. I have been gifted so many things. I couldn't even begin to tell you how blessed I am, how fortunate I am in the gifts that the Creatrix Creator gave me. And in the and it's been a journey, but I have this thing where it kind of makes everybody laugh because I go, I will win. So if it's a challenge, I'm not stopping until I win, until I get that. And it's the challenge within me to be a better, deeper, more connected being on the multi-cosmic level so that it channels down and in through me and out into the world. And even if I never came on this show, it's about what I do in my day-to-day life because it's a day-to-day walk. And wherever you go is where you can do the most, no matter where, what, how, going to the grocery store, doing the dishes, seeing your neighbors. These are the things, these are the fundamental things that actually change our environment and change our world just by knowing you, Todd, or me, or Anna Rose or Anna Christina. These people, just by people meeting them, that's how we touch, we spark, you know, and before you know it, we have a different world.
Yeah. It's kind of like going to the grocery store and looking in a baby's eyes. Have you noticed that over the last few years? They'll look at you
Oh,
and go, "I see you." But the
yeah,
code,
yeah.
the codes exchange, and I love the way that you connect that, where you talk about essentially being present in the full capacity of the multidimensionality. And obviously, we spend a lot of time, particularly the women, for because the men are on a different kind of, well, typically, it's not always based on the physical gender, but the feminine in us, let's put it that way, spend a lot of time out there,
Hmm.
like they knew that world was real. And the other side of us was more in the lower chakras, the masculine, and more rooted. That side of us is more rational, more logic, more susceptible to programming, I guess you might say. But then you bring it back to the what would be, I guess, at first blush deemed the mundane part of the multidimensionality, which is the human. But it's crazy because you're right. It's like we're no longer just staying out there because that
Hmm.
out there is that which we came into this with. But what we didn't come into this with is the experience between the time of, birth, multiple births, if we had multiple incarnations, up to this point, and now applying that akashic, that personal akashic, whatever you want to call it, into our daily life, which is going to the store and having a meeting with a new friend, or conversing with the sisters, or playing with a soul that we call pets, or whatever that may be, or taking a walk in nature, but applying that balance, all of it with the well, you say half of it in tandem with the human experience, because the human is a very, very unique. This is a very unique avatar. I mean, we are housing in this physical density that we call a body all the secrets of the universe. And it's not just fluffy love and light and new age fancy
No,
sayings. It's not. This is a real deal.
it isn't. It isn't.
Yeah.
I'm sometimes I'm a bit foul mouthed when it comes to it, but it's like if
Oh,
that's what
I'm
it
like that
calls
every
for,
day. Don't feel bad
that's
about it.
what
Hey,
it
this
gets.
is Soulogy, by the way. You can say whatever you want to.
Oh, good. But I spent 30 years in the film industry, so I can hold my own when it comes to being tough and getting in there and doing what needs to be done. Um, and sometimes that's what I think helps in this work, that you've got that steeliness within you, that you can push through those obstacles and those things that would maybe take you off the path or, you know, detour you somewhere, rather than just sticking to it. Because it can be daunting, i- if nothing else. I mean, when you were talking about the incarnation, and sometimes you get incarnations in one incarnation because you kind of die and come back, and then you die and come back, and people are like, "You're still here?" It's like, yeah, I keep trying to leave, but they're not letting me. So it's like that's another thing, because when you do come back, you're different. There's something that has gone on that has changed you to your soul. And sometimes that has to happen for you to continue what you're doing, that you've been called to do. So
Yeah,
I
that's very
find
true.
that, yeah, that's definitely interesting. And it can start at a young age too, because, you know, now we're more spiritually, we're more, and, as we walk through. But when I was younger, it was like, that child is strange. And my grandmother would say, "No, she's not. She's perfect." I love that woman. Oh, I love that woman because she never made me feel the fact that I saw things and knew things, that it was wrong or it wasn't what I should be doing. She was like, "Well, tell me more. What else do you see?" So she encouraged me to develop those gifts. And then she told me that to only tell those that I felt I could trust, which I think was a good thing.
Yeah,
That's why I
well,
went to
you
Catholic school.
I did that too. A lot of light
Yeah.
workers did that too, I noticed, but I think that was part of the design. But your grandmother,
Oh,
obviously, which shows up, right? The lineage.
mhm.
Like she knew.
Yeah.
She
Oh,
knew.
she knew. My
And
grandfather
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. That baton gets passed on, and
Hmm.
it's yeah, she relayed words to you, but it was more than words. It's that
Oh,
feeling, like trust yourself kind of thing, right?
yeah.
So you were
Yeah.
seeing things at a young age, which is
Oh, yeah.
not uncommon for a lot of the sisters. And
No.
yeah, and
I
then
had
yeah.
guides,
Oh
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
had I had guides, and I had Yeshua and Mother Mary, and it was interesting because those were the two statues I had on my little nightstand, was Yeshua and Mother Mary. And then I had three guys in a turban, and they were all in turbans. And I just thought they were three guys in a turban. They're cool. They help me. They tell me stuff I need to know, this, that, and the other. They keep me out of danger because I was always in the tree and climbing here and doing this and doing that. Don't do that, And when I did break my arms or my legs or whatever, they were there with me, helping me heal. So, but the thing is that I didn't realize until I started my journey into taking classes with different people that the three guys in the turban were Master Amoria, Master Kathumi, and Dwakul. And it was
Now
funny
where
because I
now
visited.
what school of ascension is that from? Is that Hindu?
They are the ascended masters,
Okay,
all
I
three
got you.
of them.
I got you.
So,
Okay.
but I had no idea. They were just the three guys in the turbans that followed me around and lived in my Mickey Mouse watch. Now that's a good one, huh? I would. I'd tap the watch 3 times and they'd show up.
I mean,
And I think they just did that.
do you think what?
I said, I think they just did that because they wanted me to know that they were there if I needed them,
Yeah,
because I think they were always there, but
yeah. Well, I think this is fascinating because we've learned that that the things that we thought were that well the things how do you say this, our imagination was suppressed, and so we've
Mhm.
learned that we have partitioned away things in our subconscious because of a lot of reasons: suppression, oppression, victimization. You know the story. I mean, like so many of us
I do.
had these things at a young age, and then we went into the matrix, so to speak, and kind of went through a period of time or whatever. But the point is I would bet you the more people that hear about stories and anecdotes such as you're talking about with these three masters in your Mickey Mouse watch, it's going to bring remembrance to other people
Oh
because
yeah.
these are the things that we were told made us weird and different.
Yeah.
And, and we all have this part of our story, it seems like everyone I've met anyway, where, I'm going to try to fit in now. and
Yeah.
we end up becoming an irrational part of ourselves in an
Yeah.
irrational world.
Hmm.
So it's interesting. So
Oh,
were you in Hollywood or were you in New York? Where were you with this?
I was here in Los Angeles. I was
Okay,
in Hollywood.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My sister's been in business for about 30 plus years, with
Yeah.
some of the bigger production companies in Hollywood. I'm curious. That's a different road. Like most
Yes.
people, because Hollywood is a different kind of thing. It's like
Yes.
kind of like if I use a geographical example, I'm going to use Sedona, where you have this
Hmm.
vast array of diverse energies from all over. Now, I've not been in Hollywood like you, but there sure is a lot of stuff going on there, both in front and behind. I can't imagine having the gifts you had and stepping into that career path, and then having the further evolution of your awareness and soul and so on. What was that like?
Well, I think I damaged them more than they damaged me because I started out as a actress and a dancer because I took ballet since I was 3, and um, but I wasn't the usual one. I wouldn't do anything for a part. I wasn't impressed with the producers and all that. So I always kind of stood up to them and they hired me. It was weird. I tell them, no, I'm not doing that. And they go, okay, hire her. So I knew that Spirit had put me there for a reason. I knew that I was there to raise the consciousness in that community. And the years that I was there, that's what I did. First of all, for women of color, and especially when I went behind because I don't know if you could tell, but I have a bunch of hair. And to comb this stuff all the time and make it good is a pain in the butt. So I decided it's too much trouble to put on makeup, comb that hair, get it all fancied up. Let's just go behind the camera where nobody cares what you look like and do work there. So I started doing post production and then I did production coordinating. And then I kind of worked into it. And my girlfriend, who was um, a set decorator, found out that I had a degree in interior design. So she was like, "What are you doing in the office? Come with me." So then that moved me into art department, and that's where I stayed for about in the next, say, 25 years. So it's 5 years, kind of moving around. And then for 25 years, I was doing the art direction, production direction, set decorator, props. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I lived for it. It was everything. But wherever we went, whatever company I worked with, they didn't go in and destroy houses. They didn't chop through the gardens. They put their things around. I fussed at them. I yelled at them. And everybody just did what I said. I kind of like that. But it was like, don't put your thing in. If you do that, you're paying for it out of your pocket. They're like, oh, okay. Stephanie's yelling again. It's like, we're not doing that. But there was something that happened because of what I did when people had problems, when people were sad. A lot of times, people in that business, you work so hard that you don't really have a personal life a lot of times, or you don't see people outside of work. And Spirit had me do this thing where every morning I walked around to everyone on the set and gave them a hug. And it was funny because some of those grips and electrician guys, they were like, "Wah." I was like, bring your stinky butt over here and get a hug. They were like, oh, okay. Well. So this went on, and whenever I worked with them, it brought that energy where we became a better crew, and we started working together a lot more. We'd move from project to project. It was wonderful. It was lovely, and I did love the people that I worked with. Some of them were kind of pain in the butt, but in the end, it would always turn out wonderfully. Um, and I remember one time this one little grumpy guy. Oh my God, he was a pain in the butt, and you know, I was I was actually going to go chew somebody's ass out because they had pissed me off, and I was storming through the stage, and I didn't see him. And he jumps out and he goes, "Hey, where's my hug?" And I was like, "Oh, wait, all right, hold on. I'm mad as hell, but I'm going to hug you anyway because I don't know if I'll get back to you later." But it was just that thing that dawned on me. Look at the energy that has changed here. Look at what's happening. So, and you never know really how you affect people or what you've done until you're no longer in that place. And I remember my mother, who always said to me, "When are you going to get a real job?" And I was thinking to myself, honey, if you worked as hard as I did, you'd understand I have a real job. But she met someone that I didn't know, but she was in the, she did art department for the film industry. And she heard my mother's name and she said, "Are you," and back then was I Golden or was I Falcon by then? I can't remember, but, oh no, I was Falcon, but she knew that I was Golden before. And she said, "Are you Stephanie Golden mother?" And my mom said yes. And she said, "You should be proud of your daughter. She came in and made a place for people like me to have respect in this business, in the art department, and you should be proud of her." So my mother never asked me that again.
That's sweet. That's sweet. Yeah. So
That is.
it sounds like you were during this 25 years, 30 years, you were applying your practitioner slash healer, energy worker skills, even though it may not have been at the level that you've been doing it in the past few years, maybe, I
Mm,
don't know,
mm,
but you were both enjoying what you were doing from a creative aspect and also applying those things that were true to you since you were young, because many people shut those things down for the most part. They may have had the internal dialogue and the solitude or the practices that can come with solitude. You know, when we would take a moment by ourselves because we had kids and we had spouses and we had bills and we had mortgages and all that stuff. But it sounds like you were applying it the whole time. So did you? Because a lot of people will talk about, yeah, I went to sleep for a while, or I forgot for a while.
No,
You never did, though,
no,
I can tell.
I
Yeah.
never forgot. I never forgot. It's there's only one mode of me, and you get it all the time. There's no, I don't have alternate personalities. I've got one personality. It's pretty straightforward and kind of can be in your face at times, even with, you know, but yeah. Well, also I come from, my grandmother was a medicine woman. My grandfather was an Irish French barber. So I come from that healer background of, you know, always carrying herbs and always carrying these things with me as a part of my being. You know, you don't get in my car and I haven't burned sage and and rosemary and, you know, just in the ashtray after I stopped smoking. But even when I smoked, you know, I had rosemary in there and I put my cigarette in there too. But the whole point was that it's just what and who I am all the time. It's like the only thing I ever wanted to do was be an artist, and I figured that kind of creativity branches out across everything, you know.
True. Yeah. Yeah, true.
So,
That's a big one. That we all often associate creativity with artistic expression or something to that degree, but it's actually applicable in every moment of our life. You
it
know,
is.
you know
We
what
are
I mean?
constantly in creation. We are co-creating all the time, every time, all the time, with our words, with our thoughts, with our deeds. So what do you do with those? That's the thing, you know. I don't believe in saying something offhand and then going, "Oh, I'm sorry." No. If I say something mean, I mean it because I'm trying to reach your soul, to wake you up.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good
And
point.
most of the time people don't take it as I'm being mean. They understand that I'm trying to reach them. I'm trying to, but there's a, you know, that thing you get, that.
Yeah.
And so, but most of the time, and I don't really care if they're mad at me because I know they'll be back if they're supposed to be with me and walk with me. So,
Well, the energy speaks for itself, I think. Even regardless of the words. I mean, and that's another thing that seems to be happening over these last couple. Well, certainly, yeah, the last couple of years. I mean, this new bandwidth of communication, which is not just telepathy. It's more than that.
yeah.
It's like the heart has expanded enough to be able to hear the higher intelligences that we have that are innate within us. Telepathy, intuition, creativity is a big part of it. Imagination's a big part of it. But yeah, I'm sure they pick up on that. How long have you been out of the industry?
Um, now that's an interesting story. So, in 1999, I went to Tahlequah, Oklahoma, which is where my family originated from. In actually
Interesting.
in
Yeah.
Muskogee, because my grandmother and my mother are from there. Well, my great grandmother, my mother, are from there, but we're a town over from Tahlequah, which was Muskogee. Which that's another funny story. But I went to do a movie for we were doing Where the Red Fern Grows, and it turned out to be a life-changing experience. I was there for 10 months. I deepened my connection to my Choctaw Cherokee roots so deeply that when my husband came to visit me, he was like, "Who are you? Where's my Steffi?" Like, and he goes, "It wasn't bad." He goes, "It was just so different. My vibration had changed so differently from being there, and it was my spirit walk. It was my quest, and I went and found me in such a deep level that when I came back in 2000, and it took 10 months, it was like, birthing an overdue baby. And it was like, and what's interesting, I was a 10-month baby. So, look at that. Okay. Anyway, um, I went, when I came back, I was standing we were living in Hollywood on Sycamore. I remember this. And I was standing in the window, and one of my guides walked up, and in my ear, they said, "You're never going back to that business. You now work for us." And I was like, "Oh shit, you know, I've had my run. It's time to do something else." And I called the producer that I worked with, and I said to him, "Sorry, I can't do this anymore." And he's like, "Stephanie," I go, "There's a calling. I have to answer that calling. I cannot." I said, "You were a calling before, and I had to be with you." I said, "I'm being called somewhere else. I can't do it anymore." That was the hardest thing I've ever done, tell you the truth, to walk away from something that I loved that much, but I love doing what I do now more than ever.
Yeah. And
It
so
just it
did
just feels
you
right.
yeah, yeah, that's a cool story. Did you go did you were okay. Obviously you're a practitioner, so I'm sure you have certain things that you share out of your tool belt, you
Yes,
know.
yes,
And I would assume, because I already know, that most of it, if not all of it, you downloaded directly from source through the
yes,
intermediaries that can be our guides and so on.
yes.
Were you so when this happened to you, and I'm sure that was absolutely huge because now you step into the unknown, which seems to be the recipe that we're all on now. We have to give up what we
Yeah.
know, even though it's not perfect. It's comfortable because we know what it is. But so,
Mhm.
how long did it take you to formulate things and develop a clientele and be able to create a flow of abundance and such?
Hmm. It has, hmm, what it did was, um, it showed me, because I studied a lot of different things. Well, okay, different things came, pulled me in, taught me things that I needed to know to add to what I already knew, and in between that there'd be spurts of like, it was like when I worked in film. I worked freelance, so I didn't work for studios. They hired my company, and that so this basically what's happened with this is the Spirit hires my company and says, we're hiring you for this freelance stuff to do this here. And so I walked that path where, um, and I've done all kinds of things. I mean, even how I met my husband was an interesting thing because we met doing, he was Shakabuku. I was already in the Nichiren Choshu Buddhism, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. So he came to a meeting. We met. He says to me, "You have the most beautiful eyes." And it was so weird because it was not a come on. It was not a, oh, hey, hey, baby, no. It was that soul to soul connection that was so deep. We didn't see each other for, was it almost a year? And at the biggest gathering, we run into each other. And basically, from that day forward, we've been together for 38 years.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks. But it's it's those kinds of things. That's why I said spirit kind of goes here, go here, go here, and if you allow that, it takes you. And trust me, there were so many people that tried to get in there and do some things that never happened. It just, and even just our combined crazy sometimes would get in there still. And I look at each other and go, we're still here. Yeah, we're still here. And I can't think of any place else I'd rather be than with him.
Yeah, and
And,
through the formative years of this transition we call ascension, that's even because you meet people that met during or say post 2012. Then you meet some people that were there before, like my friend Jenny. She was on a couple of days ago. They've been together 33 years. She was 17. She woke
mm,
up, or exploded, with her gifts and all that stuff. And it's an interesting thing when you take in the dynamics of a couple that have that
yeah,
type of contrast.
yeah.
You know,
Well, and it's interesting because he does his thing and I do my thing, and yet we're always parallel. It's like we're walking side by side, even though we may do. And he's joined in like I have a 6:30 Friday morning meeting that we've been doing for about 9 years on it's the Ivisis Omni Quantum Sacred Space Infinite Zero Point Meditation. Now, it didn't start out that way. It started out as 45 minutes of silent meditation 9 years ago. And it has evolved into this now. But we never missed a week. We're on YouTube every Friday morning at 6:30 Pacific time. You'll see me sitting there.
what's the channel on YouTube?
It's Ankh and I Mystery School.
Onkanai Mystery School.
Uh-huh.
Wow,
I Ankh and I Mystery School.
wow. 9 years, you
And
never missed a.
9 years. Nope.
Wow. And
Nope. And it's
I bet it's different every
it's
time.
it's different every time, and we've been in the same Zoom room since we first started. And there's an energy that when you come into that Zoom that has everyone who has ever been with us has imprinted in that energy, and it's a beautiful place. I enjoy it, and
Well, it's a
other
consciousness.
people have
It's a
said that they do.
consciousness in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
it's it's not even. You can't even just make it unique to you and your husband. It's part of
No.
you, but it's got its own, which is fascinating. 9 years. That's so
Well,
you're following. I mean, we just finished the 9 year with 2025, so that's interesting too. That you're
yeah,
coming out of the gate in a 1 year in new
yeah,
beginnings, which is what we're all doing now, which is crazy because yeah, there's a lot to be said for the things that were kind of closed down and then
hmm
reopened or closed down permanently or disconnected that occurred through this past year. That must be exciting. I would imagine
it is.
that
It
the
is.
meditations are going to be taking on a whole new life form now.
And it was interesting because actually, one of in our mystery school we have a group of people who've taken different we call them gatherings rather than classes because you come. I do. transmission videos that transmit the different phases of the journey. So, and when she came one morning, it was Jenna. Love that girl. She says, "Did you feel it? Do you feel it? That it's changed?" I go, "Yeah, I felt it too." And I hate to say, "Oh, you guys, it changed," because I'm leading it. But I like when other people, like, I won't tell people what you're going to expect. It's an experience. In fact, even my art, half the time I don't name the fractals because I want you to experience them and then you tell me what you feel and what you see. I don't think anybody should tell you what your experience is.
Yeah, I agree
You
with
know,
that.
I'm
That's
I'm
really,
a
yeah.
total rebel that way.
No, I think
It's
that, but
like, oh,
that speaks to that whole, stay in your own lane thing.
hmm
You know what I
hmm
mean? Like
and
that.
and it's about sovereignty, and that's the whole point of the mystery school. And by the way, there are four high priestesses. So it's Jane Manser, Noreen Forston, Denise Duncan, and myself. And the four of us, and it happened in the weirdest way. We just hung out. We started hanging out. And then we start, and powerful women. These are powerful women. And we hung out, and over these years, we've developed these things. And now we have five initiates that just finished at the end of summer for what we call the Tori Akadawa, which is our personal modality. So if you think of a Reiki type of thing, but you don't hold your hands up, you don't do anything, it emanates from within us out, and it never stops because it's who we are.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
just emanates all the time. And there's nine of us now. Again, number nine. So there's nine of us that can transmit, that have gone through the initiation process and can transmit this energy.
Well, it speaks to, it's like a microcosm of each one of us, you could say,
Yeah.
because we're all emitting. We're like transponder. We're sending out a signal. And but you have this added element, which I feel like is coming more and more into the fold, which is this co-creation and collaboration, a unified mind, a
Mhm.
one soul. Just if you look at the whole, it's one soul. If you look at Mother Earth, and my one soul made up of a bunch of fractals, so you're
Yeah.
emulating that, and I really feel like that's the next thing on the agenda. In fact, there's been we put out reels. Shout out to Infused Lights, Los Angeles, Irvine. Gregory Jones has put a bunch of 5,000 reels together for us. So I got a long time to put them out. But I've noticed recently some of the commentary and some of the things that were captured in the reels in December with the sisters. They talked about that. They talked about it in a couple ways. A little bit different to me. It was co-creation, collaboration, and community. Like it's time to
Okay.
physically come together, or
Mm-hmm.
that's coming, or something like that. It's so hard sometimes to make sense of the actual thing because we know everything's symbolic and metaphoric, but also there's a literal aspect that seems to be taking hold in our embodiment. So yeah, big props to you and that group because this is what I call physical synchronicities. I'm sitting here talking to
Yeah.
a sister I've never talked to. I know I've seen you in passing. I know that because I
Yeah.
recognize the name and the energy.
Yeah.
And we have mutual friends, and yet
We
we just
do.
ended a
A lot of
9 year.
them.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah, we
And I've
did.
had a lot of these in the last 2, 3 months. Like, oh yeah, we've known you and I've known you. I'm like, yeah, yeah. How do we not ever
Yeah.
meet? But the time wasn't right.
Hmm.
So we ended nine
No.
year. You've got 9 people in your group. You've ended
Hmm.
9 years in your group,
Yeah.
and the template is the foundation
Yeah.
of the template is set right, which is cool because
Yeah.
it lines up with the numbers, etc. And this is what I've noticed this last year is a lot of what I call physical synchronicities, where it's more than just numbers and it's more than just coincidental meetings. There's more and more elements of our experience speaking to us, and we're starting to compare notes and going, "Oh my God, oh my God!" You know, it's just like it's like a sequential, a more perfect sequential unfoldment of our experience, our shared experience.
It's true. It's we have this saying where we go, you can't write this stuff. When we always say that because it's just like this clicking, and then we go, you can't write this stuff because it's so, and people like the people in the mystery school and the others, because anybody who has taken anything or even comes to the meditation is welcome to come to the temple. We have 4 times a year. We just started this past was it last December? I don't know. Everything
Are
runs
you talking
together
about a
now.
physical temple,
Mm,
or
no,
okay, I
because
got you. I just was trying
it's
to get my
it's a but maybe one day.
yeah.
But it's the etheric
Oh
temple
no, I
of
got you. I
the
got you. No,
Anpanai Mystery
I'm
School.
totally aligned with that. Yeah, I totally aligned with that. Yeah, I was
But
just curious.
we
Yeah.
have, yeah, we have online, and we have people, as Jenna said today, an international mystery school, because we have people from all over the world. And this is the time when that can happen. This is the time and space for it to, where we can see each other. Now, we used to connect with people, but it was on the phone. We had to do phone calls, across the ocean and this kind of thing. But now we have this technology that we can use and really get to experience each other and put a face to that voice, you know, um, to see each other and to experience those things that we see in the physical. So I think
Yeah, you're
that's one of
adding.
the most exciting.
Yeah, because that's the message I've always gotten with the work I do is add more frequencies, add
Hmm.
more frequencies to an ever expanding vibration.
Yeah.
And I'm just listening to you and trying to take in everything that you've shared so far, and it feels like, and obviously, you know, I am soul, right? I mean, that's the core, right? I mean, for all of us, really. I mean, even when we want to, sometimes we get stuck in the universal isolation and we don't have a choice, especially when it comes to the big matters. But then you have this 30 plus year, 38-year relationship, which
Yes.
speaks to the I guess you would say the physicality or the materialization of the masculine and the feminine in form, where you have,
Yes.
because I feel like, we came into this thing with sacred union within ourselves. We've
Hmm.
been there, done that, and I really feel like that this particular series of incarnations that's culminated now is there. I'm not saying that it's the only thing or the end all cure all, but there is something to be said for the physical manifestation of your other half. You're literally
Yes.
looking at
Yes.
yourself. And to
Yes.
go
I,
through that, to have that type of evolution, 38 years of my friend Jenny and her and Dan, 33 years, to go through that through the pre rollout, the 90s, and then 2000K and 2012, and then go through everything we went through in the 12 years from 2012, and now we're on the third
yes.
phase. But just to take that in, like you said, you look at each other and go, "Oh my God, we're still here." I mean,
Yeah.
you don't even have to
Yeah.
explain the details. Like that just carries a lot of weight. So that
It
must
does.
be that. Yeah, I would imagine, like you said, like your friend told your mother that you and those like your illuminated people don't even know why they come to you, right? They don't even, you know what I'm saying? But I would
Hmm.
imagine the same happens with you and your partner. I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Well, the interesting thing about that is that when I was 5 years old, I had a dream, and the dream was about the guy that I married. And I said to my mother, I'm going to marry a guy that looks like Grandfather Bailey because he looks like he has the kind of coloring of my grandfather. And that's, my dad, my grandfather. These are the guys that I knew back then. And my mother was like, yeah, okay. And then I met Cantu. And sure enough,
Well, that's
so at
wild.
5 years old. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and and that's the thing is like, because I never wanted to get married. I,
Right.
I didn't want, I was going to be single and I was going to do the, film thing and I was going to do this and do that, and Spirit has a whole nother plan for you, let me tell you.
Well, I
It's
mean,
like,
and this goes back to what I was saying earlier about the imagination and the look. We were getting this information. We were kids. Some remember it more than others. Some were in different environments that maybe suppressed it. Maybe that were more traumatic. There's so many different dynamics. But there was a lot of talk for years. Remember, we're going to reach a point. We're going to get all our memories back. I always thought it would be like the galactic and the other planetary existences, but it's I'm starting to feel like we've been looking out that far in that direction on the outer limits of our, let's say, our experience. But man, so much of this stuff is coming in solid, meat and potatoes, boots on the ground, physical in the body, and so the memories that seem to carry a tremendous amount of code are these things that we're realizing that we already had in essence. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of it comes through these conversations because, it just feels like our bodies are command central. I mean, it's like,
they are,
you know what
well,
I mean?
that's one of the things about our practice is that everything is within us. Everything, the cosmos, the multicosmos, the galactic, you know, everything is within us. So in our practice, we go into our 0 point, and then we have the 4 point and the 7 point. It goes further than that, but this is as far as we've gotten is 7 points. But these are naturally occurring energetic systems within us that everybody has. All we have to do is acknowledge them. So you say you acknowledge your 0 point. What you do is you allow yourself to find your 0 point that is in your physical and also your energetic field. And when you feel that 0 point, it's an interesting thing. And everybody who has done this says, and each person has a unique experience with it. But and just acknowledge that infinite 0 point.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the original universal cell within your own being. Like,
Exactly.
like I had I'm in Mexico and a little bitty, beautiful little town. I got to mention it every show. But
Good, good.
I didn't plan on being here. It just happened that way. But I'm 2 blocks from the beach. And so I go out there every day. If I can't go during the day, I go at night and just ground for a while and commune with the mother and all. And I was having this meditation communion a few days ago at night, and it's happened before, but I never experienced it like this. And this is why I'm bringing it up because it reminds me of what you're talking about. My partner also has done group sessions over the years for quite some time, and she has it. She calls it something a little bit different, but she takes you to everyone goes to this original infinite, you call it 0 point, this cell, right, the core.
Mhm.
So I'm standing at the beach, and I have this experience where the crown blows up and the feet blow up, and I'm connected to the cosmos, and I'm going into the earth, and I gone in and to the point, and there was a core, and I'd never seen it before, and it stopped at the core. And I thought, what is this? And it was like, this is the core. This is what you're talking about, what my partner talks about, but of the earth. And I thought, well, how come I can't go in? So you don't go in. You just stand on the
Mm-mm.
perimeter and you become it.
Yeah,
And so
you are it.
that's kind of how, and it reminded me of what she does and what you're talking about, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what happens. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's like the whole thing with the, you know, I'm a drop in the ocean, but I'm the ocean. Now you can say that,
Mm-hmm.
but to actually experience it, you know, and
Awesome, isn't it?
I would imagine like what you're doing, which has been, like you were saying earlier, it's like a piece here, add this, add that. You know, that's very organic. And I would imagine that there are other kind of byproducts, maybe things that you didn't fully intend to, but you came out the other side and, oh my God, there's an aspect to
Mm-hmm.
this because we've gone through this part of it. So there's maybe instant healing or other things, other blessings pop in, or you know, there's magic on the other side, and sometimes the objective we have or the expectation we have isn't the only thing that occurs, and I think that
Yeah.
speaks to the energy of our experience now with what we're heading into, because it isn't just about instant healing or third eye blowing up, or it's all of the
Yeah.
above, which is probably the reason that we have to take this in spoonfuls, because it would be too much for us.
Yeah. Well, I can share a story with you that proves that we never know where that magic is going to come and how it's going to come. And sometimes those things that make us think it could be terrible turn out to be the most wonderful things that could have ever happened to us. Because in like 2015, I developed a allergic reaction to the outside, to where every time I went out, I would everything would just inflame and you know, and it got really bad. And by 2018, I hardly went out of the house at all. But that's when I met my four, and actually I met five because Guy Mamartz, who is a staunch supporter of the Omni Quantum and the Ankanai Mystery School, who has never missed or ever, left us. He's walked this path with us too. And the five of us started hanging out, just hanging out. And but it was, I mean, it was bad. It was like my face was all raw, my skin was all raw, and I couldn't pick up paper and pen. Now I'm a potter, I make jewelry, I paint, you know, all this stuff. Couldn't do any of that. None of it. And but I have to create. I have to create. It's something in me I can't stop. So then I got into doing fractals. Now I used to like to draw, the geometric shapes and stuff. And I started doing fractals. And so I started looking at all these things that that I could do fractals with. And, um, and then I couldn't use the computer that I was using. So I had to use my phone. And it was an iPhone. And I got this program where I could do fractals. And I started making little movies, on my phone. And a girlfriend came over and I said, wait, I have to finish this. And she says, well, what are you doing? I go, I'm making a movie. She goes, on your phone? I was like, well, yeah, it's all I have. I can't use that one over there because my fingers swell up every time I touch the keys. And she was like, okay. She goes, we're not having this. She gifted me a 12-inch iPad, and that's what I've been using. Now, my iPad family has grown, but this is how it was. I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't do. She came over. She gifted me this, and this is what started. And I have now, I think I have almost 500 videos. I
Wow.
have
These are videos. These
13.
aren't still images.
These
These
are no, no. These are videos that transmit. So they're part of the gathering and what I do
okay.
in the. But I have 1,300 plus of the fractal of different shapes and sizes and different things. On top of that, when I did get the ability to use pen and paper again, I started doing cosmic maps. So I have probably about 1,000 of those.
Oh my
That's why I
gosh.
say I have to create. It's it's like
Here, let's.
you
We're
know
gonna.
I got to do it. So yeah,
We're
there's
going
that.
to. Yeah, we're going to explore this. Oh wait, let me go back to the proper one here. Oh, this is a. This is maybe I can't do it. How did I end up over here? Oh, I pushed the wrong thing. That's what it was. Okay, sorry. Okay.
Step
Okay,
into your power, feel it rise. No more hiding, no
I
more
love that song.
compromise. Step into your power.
That is for these are all the fractals, and I
I'm
just
gonna
make
turn the
little
I'm gonna
reels
turn the
with them.
yeah I'm gonna turn the music down a little bit so
Yeah,
we can hear you.
yeah.
So how did
These
you?
are some of the fractals.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. Let's see here.
I like music too.
How do you? Is that you on the music? No, that's
No,
Inigo. No, I know that one is.
yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
these are trippy. Now,
yeah.
I mean, I've seen quite a few things. I mean, we've all seen quite a few things that people are creating, but
Those were the sigils.
yeah, these are very interesting.
That's
What the
that's
heck
the
is this?
omni. Okay, this is just a little video that I did to transmute and transmit some energy.
Mm. You just
That's just a clip. That's not a whole video. It's just a clip that I call them quick keys. QIE.
man. I'm trying to see what it looks like on the screen on my phone. Yeah, these are very cool. So you're putting out. You got to be doing this stuff every day to have this many.
Yeah, there's it. It goes in spurts. I can do like 50 or 60 in a couple days, and and then I seed them with the little dots. If you go to
I'm on it.
let me see,
Hang on.
um,
I'll bring it back.
photos. There's well, and then I have books that I
Let's see.
workbooks and that kind of. Okay, these are. Oh no, that's just me wishing people happy birthday.
Oh, I see.
um, that one is.
This one looks interesting.
Uh,
What the heck? Look at that.
yes, that's another one of the transmissions.
So these
Sometimes
are.
I just feel like,
Yeah, that's wild. So these are.
yeah.
Some of these are connected to your Sunday meditation. Is that
No,
right?
yes, the still ones are not these. These are connected to the groups that I hold,
Very cool. Very original.
and that's so they're all generated by usually a fractal that I've made that I drop into an algorithm, and then it comes out like this.
Wow. Trippy. That's
So
trippy.
like those pictures, those like the gold picture, I would take it, drop it into an algorithm, and then it would create the video, and then I put them together, and that's how I make the videos for the gatherings.
Wow. Far out.
Uh,
There's a lot.
so
There's a lot.
yeah, we
There's a lot to you. A lot going on there. I wonder what it would
yeah.
take. I wonder what it would take to have you and your partner come on We could talk to y'all both. That'd be interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, sure. I'm sure he'd do it. He's something else.
Is he
He
really?
looks
Well, I would
quiet,
imagine. I mean,
but
you are too. I mean, like begets like, don't
thank
they?
you. Yeah. It's like everybody always thinks he's quiet, and then he does something really outrageous, and they look at me. I go, "Look, I told you. Okay,
Uh-huh.
I know who he is." So, yeah.
So now, like, what's it like? Uh, it's so interesting. Like you were talking about the international group that you have, right? The
Hmm.
representations international, and so much of this platform and many, all of them. I mean, we've connected the entire world, right, with the internet.
Hmm.
It's so funny too because people doubt that light possesses information, and this is exactly what the
Yeah,
internet is, basically, right? But
it is.
God, what was I going to ask you? Oh, yeah. So like living in L.A., that's a
Hmm.
pretty dense place. I lived there twice. I've lived all over the
Yeah.
country, and a lot of the big cities: Chicago,
Hmm.
Boston, Miami. But what's it like? Because my experience over there was kind of a superficial spirituality. You know what I mean? Which is okay. I mean, there's different strokes, different folks, whatever. But I would imagine with the density of the population, there has to be some really solid foundational nodal points in the form of people like you and your partner and people that you know there. What's it like going through this transition in 2026, 2025, 2024 as those larger metropolitan areas take on more diverse and extreme polarities, etc.? What's it like?
Well, what's really funny about that is, although I grew up in like Fairfax area, Mid Wilshire area, growing up, lived there, lived in Hollywood. Um, then we lived in Venice, Malibu. We kind of moved around, and it was for wherever we went, the vibration always changed,
Yeah.
and it became so. It was. I don't feel that my environment affects me. I
Right.
feel I
Right.
affect my environment. So in that, Los Angeles is
Yeah. Touche.
it's
Touche.
it's well, because the places I've gone, the people I know, all the things I've done, I've been through the the shit show, and I've been through the lovely things. Like my favorite hangout was the Bodhi tree. Do you remember the Bodhi tree, the big metaphysical store that was on Melrose?
No, I didn't. I didn't spend that much time there. I was
Oh,
stacked a
okay.
house full of kids, and yeah, that was
It was it was the oasis in the city.
yeah.
That's where I spent my time. Like I would do my lunch there because I drove around a lot to the different prop houses and that kind of thing when I was out. So I would go there. They had tea, they had books, you know. That was my experience with it. And so, that's where I met Louise Hay and Lynn Andrews and spent time with them. So it was a different
I mean,
kind of experience.
there has to be PowerPoints all over it because I mean,
Oh yeah.
just because it's been built up doesn't mean, you know what I mean. Like I know I picked up on a few places, and I've met people, very special
Mhm.
people from
Mhm.
that area that that still live there, and I remember this one guy we did a show. My brother Ty, who's a multi instrumental musician guy, we make music together, and he went out there, and I think it was him. This ascension memory, you can't remember anything. But anyway, the
Right.
guy the guy had a place, and I believe it was either Venice. I think it was Venice area, and he was like a
Mm-hmm.
block off the beach or something like that, and he had
Yep.
this space. I want to say it was like round or like an octa shape, and he had in it. He had, of course, all this music, all this equipment, and then he had all these visuals on the wall like yours. And we jammed
Nice.
while he plays, and that was his thing. We did this like 3 or 4 years ago, and he had just come up with it. And we were
Mm-hmm.
going to do some stuff. I don't know whatever happened to it, but that's what he was doing. He was bringing people in, and he was putting up this type of stuff that you do, like I don't know what you call
Yeah.
that, geometry or whatever,
Fractals.
fractals
Fractals.
or
Yeah.
light language or all the above, or I don't know what it is, but hieroglyphics,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And he would play the music, and it would coordinate with the imagery,
The,
right? And
oh,
now
nice.
3 or 4 years later, that there's a tech out there, apps out there that could
Yeah.
just blow that away. That's a pretty wild thing too, to consider
Yeah.
the mirror that technology is providing us. You know what I mean? And then you see all the
Yeah,
rhetoric
I do.
of be careful or work with it. Yeah, it's a reflection of us.
Right.
we have to use
And
it till we don't have to use it anymore.
and that's what I always say. It's like the geniuses that go out and do like really devious things. Why can't you use that genius for something good? So use it for good because it's just a reflection of you. Everything is a reflection of us. So what kind of reflection do you want to have or to be seen? And that's the whole point of it. It's like, people say, "Oh, this world," but the only way it's going to change is that everyone changes from the inside.
That's right.
It's the
That's
only
right.
way. It doesn't matter how much you march up and down or say
That's
anything.
right.
It's an individual soul evolution that has to happen
Yeah.
before it changes. I mean, that's why for me, being thrown out of a car onto the freeway, dying and coming back was pretty, told me, okay, let's go another way. Let's
How
do
long? How
something
long ago did
different.
that happen?
That was when I was 19,
Yeah.
and, had the whole thing. Archangel Michael came. He was fine as all get out. And he said, you cannot go that way. You got to go back that way. I was like, dude, really?
Isn't that like hilarious that if you think about there's such a cottage industry of
Yeah.
platforms where they just talk about near death experiences or out of body
Yeah.
experiences. I've had a couple myself, and they all have kind of the same characteristics, and one of them is that you're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, it feels so good here. I don't want to go back, and they're like, no, you got to
Yeah.
go.
He was like,
You
he
got to
was
go
like,
back.
no. But see, and then he fooled me because he came and he looked really fine. He had on, but this is what's funny. He had on penny loafers with the penny in them, rolled up jeans. Now this is the 70s, okay? So,
Sounds like it was
and
Eddie Haskell from Leave It to Beaver.
oh no, but he was way better looking than him. And he had, the long hair and the rolled up T-shirt with the cigarette pack in
Oh
them.
my
That's
God.
what got me. I was thinking to myself, I've got a really interesting imagination, but okay.
Well, they
But
have they
I
have they
knew,
have to relate to you in a way that you can understand and embrace.
right, right, and I did smoke Marlboros back then, so it was like, dude, all right, let's do this. But but it was one of those things. Again, 19, right before I hit 20, right before you make that transition into that was, and it wasn't like I was doing anything weird, but I think if I had continued down that road, I would not have ended up here. And that's
Meaning,
the point.
meaning, continue down what road? The road that you were on before the accident?
Wherever, and yeah, and it was
Yeah, yeah,
weird. I was going to college,
yeah.
and it was Halloween. I was going to see my mother for Halloween because we have this thing about Halloween, that it used to be this family thing that we'd all get together. And I was taking two girlfriends from college, and I was going to Chapman College at the time, and so that's in Orange County, and we were going into LA, and we were in a Volkswagen, and it was raining, tire blew, we slid into the front of a semi truck, and oh yeah, it was, you know, can't if you got to do it big, right? Don't
I'd
just take
rather
a
just
little
not do
pickup
it.
truck.
At this point, I've done enough. I don't
Yeah,
want
I
to do it
would too,
anymore.
but it was like, you know, but that was something that, and it took me a couple of years to kind of recover from that, you know, with the thing. There were no broken bones, which was interesting.
That's wild.
Yeah, there was vertebrae pulled away from the spine. There was a cracked skull, not broken, but just a little crack, you know. But it all served to, I think, make me go deeper
Yeah.
into me.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was the thing that
Well, the cool thing is too that and because obviously I've talked to a lot of people, but to have that occur at such a young age, because a lot of the people, at least the traumas that you remember, are the ones that push you over, are the ones that bring in that intel that you can only get when you have that type of experience come later in life. But
yeah,
so that's pretty cool. But that fits your mold because of the
it
way
does.
you started, and then you tell me you're from Oklahoma.
Yeah,
And that's a rich, deep place. I mean, that place
it
is.
is.
I lived in Arkansas
I
for a couple of years. I'm from Texas. I've lived in North
nothing.
Texas, but man,
Okay.
Oklahoma and Arkansas, like,
Yeah.
there's some
It's
real,
magical.
yeah, there,
Magical.
yes, there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a powerful, powerful corridor.
it is.
It's
And
extremely powerful.
spirit walks down the street there.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just, when I got there, I remember we came in on a Sunday afternoon, and I had to drive my husband to Tulsa. Now, Tulsa is 70 miles from Tahlequah. I'd never been there. Like, we drove in, stayed, ate, you know, and then I had to drive him to Tulsa. Now, you would think, oh my God, this girl's never been to Tahlequah. She's never been to Tulsa. I got in that car and drove him like I knew where I was going.
Yeah.
Never,
Well, you were returning.
never even.
You were retracing your steps.
And when
Yeah.
I got back in the car and I was by myself, every ancestor I think that ever had, even the ones that walked from the Trail of Tears,
Yeah.
they were in that car with me.
Yeah.
And I bawled for 70 miles
Yeah.
back to Tahlequah.
I
It was,
I went to Tahlequah to try to buy. I lived 5 miles on the Arkansas side. On
okay, I probably passed there because I used to go to Arkansas all the time.
it's called Van Buren. It's right before you get to Fort
Oh,
Smith.
yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah, I lived in
Yeah.
Van Buren. We lived in Van Buren.
Oh, my God. Okay.
And I drove to Tahlequah to go try to buy some furniture or something with a friend. I can't remember, but I remember going and yeah, and I'm the same. In fact, where we lived in Arkansas was on a dry riverbed, so it was like this weird property in the middle of a subdivision that had its own like space with a little forest behind it, and I had plenty of experiences out there, and some of them had to do with the Trail of Tears. And then one time I remember I was driving through Oklahoma. I was actually going to Sedona to do the first Soulogy Fest that we ever did, and somebody had gifted us a bus, a small bus like you see in the cities, seats about 12 people, something like that. And so I'm in this bus and I'm driving down 40, and I left late and it got dark. And so I just got my app out and I said, I'm going to try to find a place where I can, like an RV park. Ended up, long story short, I talked to this lady, $20, pay it on the phone. I go find my space. It's this black Beaumont clay flat piece of land with a bunch of little sticks in the ground. And something happened along those lines that night too. I opened up the door and I turned on I plugged into electricity, turned on some music, and all of a sudden I heard all these coyotes or dogs start howling and howling and howling, and it just brought up all this stuff. But yeah, it's a very, very powerful place. It's a,
It
it's
is.
one of those places. I feel like there's places that have as much power, primordial force, whatever you want to call it, as a
Yes,
Sedona or a Shasta. They're just not on the radar. You know what I mean?
exactly.
And
And you don't want them to be on the radar.
no,
I
no.
mean, we every week we did sweat lodge,
Mm,
and we go out and we build a wanipi, and we had a guardian. We had a Sasquatch guardian.
yeah,
That the minute that we walked into, and everybody was in, you'd see them walk by in their shadow, because the fire was on one side, we were on this side, and they'd walk by and you'd see their shadow,
I
and you
believe
knew
it.
that was
I
not a
believe it.
man.
No, this
You
the
know,
elders. They don't call them the elders for nothing. You know.
no, no, and they would come every time that we
Yeah,
were in there.
yeah,
You know, it was it. I've never had so many experiences that made me know deep. I mean, it's not a, oh, I believe. It's, I know
yeah,
that there is a
yeah.
whole another world,
Oh
that
yeah,
is
yeah.
is right there, and if we ask for help, it's there. And
Yes.
even if we don't, sometimes it'll come because we're too stupid to ask, and it'll save our behind. you know.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's what I was saying earlier. Like we've spent all of our time looking up in the sky, and that's okay because that's part of
Yeah,
our lineage. But it's right under our feet. They're right next to
it
us.
is.
You know, I
It
mean,
is.
many of us have had, you know, I would say like memories of past lives that were within
Mhm.
a couple of hundred years or whatever. And obviously the indigenous part of it is a big part of it. And it's a real thing. And the fact that like they called this the dream world,
Yeah.
and they worked with the elders, and they worked with the elementals,
Mhm.
and nature, and look, we're really not that far removed from it. The
No.
fuckery didn't start, to really amp up till probably 150 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's been going
When
on a
they
long time. It's been
decided,
going on too much. And
yeah.
this personal transformation that you represent, and you and your husband represent, and you and your group represent, is our way. The way out is the way in, right? And
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
we should do this again sometime. That was a quick hour and a half, but I really
Wow,
appreciate.
has it been that long?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I looked at the clock. I said, "Was it 30 minutes or is it an hour and a half?" And I looked, and no, it's an hour and a
Wow.
half. But no, this is a special. It's a special episode. I really enjoyed it, and it's the
I did
ninth.
too.
It's the 9th of January.
I
You
know.
can't.
And
So
there's
you
all
say,
these,
what do you say? What did you say? You can't write this. We say you can't
you
make this.
can't write
You
this.
can't make this shift up, man.
That's right. That's right. It's like, it's amazing. And I didn't know that there's all these, specific lining of the planets and all this stuff and
Mm,
blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh yeah, we're going to meet on the
mm.
9th.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then,
There's
and
a
then I
lot to
got
be
the
said.
information.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we should do this again sometime. Definitely.
Anytime,
I'm finding
please.
that a lot of these conversations, we're just kind of getting into them. So some of the
Okay.
over the last 2 or 3 months, I've had people come back on again a few weeks later, and we just continue it. And we'd love to meet your husband sometime too, and see how wild and crazy
All
he
right.
is. And yeah, and yeah,
Okay.
I just want to say thank you for your service on behalf of humanity, because these
Thank you.
little stories are the real story. It's not the big headlines and all the BS and all that stuff. It's these individual transformations that are now obviously spreading to where two or more gather. So thank you very much for sticking it out and staying
Oh,
true to
thank
yourself and
you.
standing tall and shining and sharing your soul with us today. And I look forward to collaborating with you in the future if you're up for it.
I definitely, and we got to get Anna Rose Ferris on here too. Boy, you would
Uh,
really love
I
the two
wonder if
of
I
us
sent.
together.
I think I sent her. if they sent me a bunch, like there was like 3 sisters. That was weird. They all how that works. They all sent me like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
you
know
should
how that
ask,
goes.
you should ask this person on. Next thing I know, I had like 15 or 18 names, and I sent them all out over a couple days. But there was 1 or 2, and I think that was one of them. That
Okay.
like if
Well,
you're on Facebook and you're not friends, and you send someone a message, it goes to their message request, and they'll never see it unless they have a habit of going in there and checking. A lot of people don't even know about it. So I might have to hit you up on that and put me in touch with her, or you can
I
help.
will
Yeah.
definitely because now the two of us we do codes. She does codes and I do codes, and then we put our codes together. Woo! It's
We should check that
magical.
out. We should check that out. We've done a lot
Yeah,
of stuff like that over the
definitely,
years, Like
definitely.
there was a group of women, or actually there was more than one, but there was a group of women. There was about, like 6 of them, 6 or 8 of
Hmm.
them. They would get together like once every 2 weeks or once a month, and a lot of them had been on the show. And so I was like, hey, why don't you let us sit in on one of your meetings? And that was interesting. We did that with like 2 or 3 different women's groups. But yeah, the
Oh,
two we get the.
we have groups for you, darling. Let me tell you.
Yeah, we can do something like that. I mean,
Okay.
it's I feel it's really important to put out these things that people have been doing alone with their partner and with others in groups, and letting people see what's going on, because I think one of the biggest holdbacks that we have is the fear of being weird, or not being
Oh,
accepted, or you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, now we should all be
yeah.
used to it by now because our families told us we were crazy. At least most of ours did.
Hmm.
Yours sound like it was
Oh
pretty
yeah.
cool.
Oh no, just my dad, my grandmother, and my grandfather. My mother was, and she was the littlest one, but the most dynamic.
Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah. Isn't that how it works?
But
Isn't
you
that?
gotta love her. But because of her, I learned to stand my ground.
Yeah,
So she was the perfect mother for what I needed to do. If I hadn't had her, I wouldn't be able to stand up.
yeah.
So
Well, my
yeah.
soul told me a long time ago, because we all have our antagonists, right? More than one, and said to me, now, who do you think would be most likely to play the antagonist in your human incarnation, but that
Hmm.
who is most closest to you in the soul monad or the soul family?
Exactly.
So yeah,
Yeah. And I loved her madly, but oh my God, she worked my nerve.
well, you wouldn't be who you
And I
were if it
worked
wasn't.
hers.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Well, you
You
take
know.
care. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you
I will be in touch
so
with
much.
you. Let's get Ferris
Okay.
involved, and
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. Well, just hit me up. I'll hit
We'll
you
do
up
it.
for certain within a few
Okay.
days. Thank you,
All right.
everybody. That's it for today.
Thank
Join
you
us again.
guys.
Yeah, join us tomorrow. We've got another 2 sisters coming on tomorrow. Oksana Lukin and Mayana Star. And then 2 more the
Ooh.
following day, and 2 more the following day. So it ought to be a hell of a week as we get into this 11:11 gateway, or whatever it is. What is it? 11? Yeah, 11:11
It's
gateway.
it's four. I think it's four
Four ones.
11s or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
four 11s.
Four. There's a whole
Yeah,
lot of ones in there.
yeah. So strap it on, because buckle
Yep.
up, because you know how this shit goes.
Yep.
All
Ain't
right.
that the truth?
Peace out,
Take
everybody.
care.